Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wasatch Weekends. I'm your host, Julio Garcia, and I'll be joining you for this Sunday, May 19th edition where we've got lots happening on the show. We have an exciting interview with the Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival, as well as a fun recipe in the kitchen in honor of World Baking Day. So stick with us as we kick off Wasatch Weekends. But first, let's take a quick look at the weather. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for something to do over Memorial Day weekend, then you won't want to miss out the 2024 Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival happening, as I mentioned, over Memorial Day weekend. And to tell us all about this exciting event, we have Matthew Heimberger, who is the announcer for the event, joining us today. Matthew, thanks for being here. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel great. I feel like spring has finally kind of come into the valley, and
Yes.
I feel like we're going to set up just perfectly for the sheepdog competition. So feeling good.
Spring is springing, and you've got an exciting event happening May 24th through the 27th, which is just over Memorial Day weekend. Tell me a little bit about the sheepdog competition, the festival, kind of what we can expect for this year. I know you all are celebrating your 20th anniversary, so congratulations on that. But tell us what we can expect about this exciting sheepdog competition.
So, Julio, have you ever been to this before?
I have not, so I'm very excited to learn more. So tell me all about it.
All right, come. It's an addicting event, I'll tell you that. So the Sheepdog, the Soldier Hollow Classic, we call it, the Sheepdog Classic and Festival is happening, as you said, this Memorial Day weekend. It's our first year moving to the Memorial Day weekend. We were always during Labor Day weekend, which was fun, but a little warm for the dogs, a little uncomfortable sometimes. And so it's our 20th anniversary, but our first time for this happening over Memorial Day. So folks want to know that and keep that in mind. But it is an event that will surprise you. If you have not been, you will be taken by surprise at just how interesting it is. And I will admit, I've been here in the valley, in Heber Valley, since the beginning of this festival. And in the early days, I heard about it. I thought, yeah, it sounds kind of interesting. And I saw the movie Babe, and I, of course, had in my mind what Hollywood thought it would be. But when I finally took my family to it in the early years, we were mesmerized. It's hard to describe. It's almost like watching a Wimbledon match where you're kind of quiet and you're watching and you're really invested in what's happening out on the field. But it's a partnership between some of the top shepherds and some of the top border collies in the world.
Yeah.
And it's this unique partnership of human and canine working together to send these sheep through basically an obstacle course where sometimes the dogs are acting according to instinct and going out and getting these sheep and bringing them down. But then the handler says, okay, leave them there, go over and get those ones, now push them away, now take them on an angle. And so sometimes it's instinct, sometimes it's against instinct. And the whole time, Julio, the clock is running down. So they're trying to get through this obstacle course high up on the hill, bringing the sheep through gates, coming down and separating them based on collars. It's wild. And as the clock comes down, they have to get them into the small pen. And the audience is wanting to cheer or cry or scream, but they can't because they don't want to throw off the signals. And then, of course, either they make it or they don't. And that just happens throughout the day. That's the main event. And you just can't take your eyes off it. It's fantastic.
Oh my God, yeah, just hearing about it sounds like such a thrilling, exciting, but like you said, you don't want to disturb the dog, so you kind of have to, stay composed until you can finally cheer. So it sounds like it's a very exciting event, and I love what you mentioned, that relationship between the handler and the dog, that kind of almost trust and that relationship that has built. I think that also, it's much more than a competition. Obviously, everyone is there to watch the competition, but also kind of getting to watch the dynamic between the human and the dog. I think that's pretty exciting as well.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And I think about other sports competitions, and I love them all, of course, and I love seeing what humans can do alone, and I love seeing what we can do with our technology sometimes too. But this is a partnership between humans and canines,
Yeah.
and it's a partnership that you can't just walk onto the field and hope that it comes together. They've been working at it for years and years. And sometimes they've been breeding for years and years to kind of get this line of a dog that is especially well suited to this kind of competition. Julio, all these dogs are working dogs. They work on ranches and they
Right.
do this job for a living. When they come to this competition, it's a little bit different for them because now there's an audience,
Yep.
right? Now, now there's fences where there's not supposed to be fences. And so again, you're sometimes the instinct of these dogs is to go out and get the job done. But now you got to do the job in a certain kind of way in a certain amount of time. And the dog who would normally just say, okay, I'm going to do it this way. No, no, no. Now you got to do it in a certain way. So it's a fascinating combination of sports competition and working prowess all happening before your eyes.
Matthew, now you mentioned that it is kind of a race against time. The clock is ticking. Is that how they're scored? Is it based on the fastest time, or kind of how is it scored? If you can give us a little crash course on this on the scoring.
Yeah, no, there's 3 days of qualifying for the finals, which are on Memorial Day itself. So a little
Okay.
bit different on the last day. But for the first 3 days, basically you've got 100 points that you start out with. And then for each section of the course, the judge, and there's a human judge.
Hmm.
I don't know why we don't have a canine judge
Right.
too, but we haven't worked that part out yet. But the human judge is watching, and how well the handler and the dog work together to go up the mountain to find the sheep. That's called the outrun, and that's actually worth quite a few points all by itself out of that 100, because not only do they have to find the sheep, but you can't startle them, you can't attack them, you can't come, and all of a sudden make them scatter. So each little element, from the outrun to kind of bringing them down the mountain, bringing them around some posts, everything's worth points, and the judge will deduct depending on how well or how. And sometimes time can be a factor, of course. If they stall out, that can be an issue. But in the end, getting them into the pen before the clock runs out is really only worth 10 points. But by then, they've done so many other things that, either they've had a great run or they haven't. And when they get into that pen and the audience erupts, well, that doesn't hurt either. So, yeah, 100 points. And I'm trying to think, some of our highest achievements, I think I've seen a 95.
Wow.
So a dog and a handler that have done just remarkable work, and almost nothing went wrong, and the sheep obeyed them. I should mention the sheep, Julio, are they're from the Utah-Nevada border.
Okay.
They have not been in front of an audience either. They're not wild about being in this particular location
Right.
with an audience and dogs and people and whistles. And so half of the fun is seeing how the sheep react.
Absolutely.
And the sheep thinks it's their competition, so they think they're the ones getting points. But that's not how the judge sees it.
Right. And as you mentioned, it's years of work and training that both, the handlers and the dogs have gone through to try to score as many of those 100 points as possible. Now, that's all the competition part, which is obviously very exciting. But I also know there's a festival going on with lots of activities, vendors, booths. So tell me kind of about the festival part of the event.
Yeah, so the main event, of course, is watching that competition, but right behind that, all throughout the Soldier Hollow, and this is up at the ski venue, by the way, Soldier Hollow Nordic Center area, they will have demonstrations on training, how to train your dog, how to train your dog for agility, how to train your dog for strength. They'll have duck herding, which sounds crazy, but a young puppy or a young dog will practice learning how to herd sheep by working
Wow.
with ducks. And they, of course, are famously hard to herd, kind of like kindergarten children. They're just going to go wherever they're going to go. So there are police dog demonstrations where the dogs will demonstrate nose work and how good they can sniff out things. We have Navajo rug demonstrations and weaving demonstrations. We have oh my goodness, face painting. And of course, there are all kinds of vendor booths that sell things for humans and for canines, some beautiful crafts, some wonderful products that are brought here specifically for people to buy for their dogs. And the food is from all over the world, basically, and you'll have some wonderful opportunities. I haven't double checked my list to know if we have mutton this year. That always kind of struck me as kind of funny. But if we do, it's very tasty. I promise you that.
Lots of family fun, activity, food, vendors, lots of demonstrations, as Matthew mentioned, going on. And all of this is happening Memorial Day weekend, May 24th through the 27th. Matthew, where can folks go to learn more, purchase those tickets that I know are on sale now? Where can people go to find out more information?
They should go to our website, if they will. It's soldierhollowclassic.com. So very straightforward, very simple. But you can hop on there. You can learn about the competition. You can get kind of the rules, its history, see some of the people who have won in past years. You can read about the breed. These are mostly border collies, of course, but there are a few other breeds that have come up every once in a while and had some success at these competitions. But you can also buy your tickets there, and you can buy them in advance for a discount. Up until I think 7:59 a.m. each day. As long as you buy online, you'll get some money off those tickets. But otherwise, just come up to the gate and buy them there. It's a popular event for sure. We recommend that you bring, since it's Utah and it's spring, bring an umbrella if you've got one. If not, we'll have them there for purchase. We have water, but you might want to bring sunglasses. Just kind of think about spending a day outside. And if you think you're going to be there for a couple of hours, you will be surprised at how long you end up staying, because there's so much to do, so much to see, so much to enjoy. But just come and be a part of the Soldier Hollow Classic with us, and we'll direct you and show you why so many people who will come back year after year after year. We have super fans that are here every year. They come as early as they possibly can and set up their chairs. It's kind of fun, and we cheer them and welcome them. And we welcome everybody.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be a blast. It's the 20th anniversary Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival, happening for the first time over Memorial Day weekend. So don't miss out. May 24th through the 27th. Visit soldierhollowclassic.com for all the information and to purchase your tickets. And Matthew, thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing a little bit about this exciting event. You're the announcer, so we'll be seeing you and hearing you at the event. So looking forward to that. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Julio. Come and join us yourself, please.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Matthew. We'll see you soon. For everyone back at home, we're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back with more of the show, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Now, if you didn't know, today is World Baking Day, and in honor of this lovely celebration, we've got Kim and Kevin in the kitchen cooking up a delicious key lime pie. Let's take a look at this delicious recipe.
It's Pie Day.
Pie Day.
This is a fun holiday. Do you have a favorite pie?
I actually have a favorite pie. It's key lime pie.
A key lime pie. Oh, I wonder why he said that.
Yeah. And I can't say cheesecake. I love cheesecake, but it's cake.
Yeah, it's
not
true.
a pie.
It's true. Sometimes you can make a graham cracker crust for a cheesecake,
Or
but
crust.
it's not the same. So we are making a key lime pie. And this is honestly one of the easiest recipes for a key lime pie.
Well, we'll be the judge of that.
Well, we will be the judge of that. It involves sour cream, sweetened condensed milk, obviously lime juice. You can use regular limes if you don't have key lime, but we do have key limes.
You gotta use key limes.
You have to. It just makes it a little bit of a different taste, and then also the zest of the key lime. So very simple recipe. You can make your own graham cracker crust, but
we cheated.
We cheated today.
Yeah.
Because
or we could say, no, we made it and put it in this lovely pie pan.
We really did. We were really great at crushing it all together and pressing it into the pie pan. So this is going to be a really fun and easy recipe. We need 28 ounces of sweetened condensed milk.
Okay, we got that.
We're going to go ahead and open those, and we're going to pour them here into our giant mixing bowl. And we're also going to make the whipped cream from scratch. So it's going to be so fun.
Shut the gondola door.
Shut the gondola door. It's going to be great, and it's going to be easy. So we've got a half a cup of light sour cream, and then we need 3/4 of a cup of the lime juice. And so we've got a fun little
So
lime
Kevin's
juice
going to be
mixer.
squeezing some lime juice, I take it.
Kevin's going to be squeezing some lime juice. He's going to be mixing it up. And
the official squeezer of
Do you want to be the official
TVA?
squeezer? And
Yeah.
I can scrape the...
Why don't you do that?
Yeah, let's do
I'm
that.
going to need to get
We'll do
started on these things.
A little switcheroo here.
Okay.
So yeah, the sweetened condensed milk is very different. It's just basically sugar and milk, but it's been kind of cooked down and It's just easier to buy it from the grocery store. You could try to make it on your own, but what's the point?
What's the point?
You know, these cans usually come in about 14 ounces, so we've got 2 cans here, and we need 28 ounces for this key lime pie. Now, if you're doing a filling on the key lime pie, it's usually like a 9-inch pie pan, and it should give you just enough to fill it all the way to the top of your pie. So pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see
So
if
do you
we
feel
get
like
the
you're
measurements right.
you're still back in Florida, Kevin?
I do. I just smell these key limes.
You know, I think I'm in the mood for a tropical vacation. You know, last week we made the whole orange blender cake. That was fun.
That was fun. That was a
That was
blast.
actually quite delicious. That was a viral TikTok recipe, which we had never tried before.
Never thought it would work in a million years, and it did.
And it did.
It did.
It was pretty great. You know what? This sweetened condensed milk definitely gets a little bit sticky at times, so just be aware of that when you're popping open your
Sweet, sticky.
can. Everything you need for a dessert, right? Yeah, I would say so. But you know, Kevin, you're crushing
I know.
the juicing game of these key limes.
I've been told that before.
But you know, if you don't
a
have
juicer.
if you don't have the key limes, that's okay too. You can use regular limes. You can actually also use lime juice. But we're being as close to authentic as we can be in this process. Now, Kevin, have you ever made a graham cracker crust from scratch?
You know, I can't say that I have.
It's really quite simple.
Yeah.
You know,
I bet you use graham crackers.
you use graham
One
crackers.
ingredient, main.
You use about 6 tablespoons of melted butter,
Okay.
some sugar. You blend it all together, pour it in, and then
And
just
voila.
and voila, and you put it into the oven. But you know it's different. It's actually, you bake it at about 375 if we were to make this from scratch.
Okay.
So sweetened condensed milk's looking great. Now here's the interesting part. We're actually going to add sour cream to this key lime pie mixture.
Okay.
And the sour cream gives it a nice, like, fluffy, and I would say almost lighter than using cream cheese or something along those lines. And I prefer the sour cream over the cream cheese just because it's a lighter consistency than, you know, the density of some cream cheese.
Well, have at
There
it.
we go.
Have
Great.
at it.
So we would use about a half a cup, but we'll kind of guesstimate here what that would look like as we are putting this sour cream
Now,
into
how many
our
ounces
mixer.
of this lime juice do I need?
We need about 3/4
before I
of
get
a cup.
arthritis in my hands. I'll never play the piano again.
Always make Kevin do the
Yeah.
the manual labor in
Great
the kitchen here.
time here.
We need about 3/4 of a cup, but you know, you're doing
Hey, I'm
great.
getting there.
You are. Well, you continue to do that. I'm going to actually scoop my sour cream into our measuring cup here. But yeah, so pie. It's an infinite number.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Are you a math guy?
I wouldn't say I'm a math guy, but I know what the numbers were, obviously, from the quiz that you gave
Just
me earlier.
continue to go on and on and
Yeah.
on. You know, I was looking up different, like, regions have different pies that are specific to them. That was pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah,
You-
Colorado.
Can you recall a few of them?
I can. We got the Palisade peach pie in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
That's
big one.
that's a
and
big
then
one.
obviously, if you're on the East Coast or in the South, pecan pie is usually #1. I know.
Is it pecan or pecan?
You know, I had this discussion yesterday. I say pecan. What do you say?
Pecan.
Pecan. You know, I think it's indicative of where you're from, really.
I don't know.
You know?
Yeah.
So we're going to continue to fill up the sour cream, mix it in there. Kevin, you are doing a great job. And then
I'm on key lime number 475.
maybe we should have used real limes. That would have gone a lot faster.
Should have, yeah. We'll see you tomorrow. Tune in.
Tune in
next
tomorrow for
Monday.
part 2.
I have bandages on my hands and a splint.
In a split. Oh my goodness. So I've got all of my sour cream mixed in here, and you can see we've got 2 cans, about 14 ounces of that sweetened condensed milk. Then we've got about 1/2 of a cup of the sour cream, so it's looking good to me. And I'm going to go ahead and start mixing that while you continue.
Why don't you go ahead and start mixing
Hey,
that
why don't
while
I go ahead and start mixing that while Kevin is continuing to juice these key
I'll
limes.
be able to hold a pen for a week.
You know, we're just over here having some fun
Yep.
in the kitchen. At least I'm having fun. Poor Kevin is not. But while he's continuing to do that, so it's lime zest. You've got the lime juice, and then I'll actually go ahead and zest up some lime into our mixture here. And it's okay if it's a little bit chunky. You know, texture is fine.
Is it okay?
I think it's okay. You know, that's my personal opinion.
Maybe if it's
So-
pecan pie.
I do like a good pecan pie.
There was a place, and I wish I could recall the name, when I was in Savannah, Georgia. Oh my gosh.
I love
Pecan pie
Savannah,
there was
Georgia.
incredible.
Oh, I bet. You know, you are in the mecca of delicious Southern sweetness.
Yep.
That's true. So, Kevin, before you juice all of those limes, may I have 1 or 2 of them so I can start zesting?
There you go.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Great. I'm going to grab the cheese grater next to you. So if you don't have an actual zesting apparatus, you can use your cheese grater right here, and you can see that it's just easy.
Yeah.
Nice and
It's going to be a
simple.
little more coarse than a regular zester, but that's not a bad thing.
It's really not. You know, it's totally okay. You can use really whatever you've got if you're trying to be resourceful. No need to like become a chef and add more to your.
Oh no, let's add more. Let's
add more to your kitchen
How many
toolbox.
cups of this?
I think, you know, we're just going to keep going. We're going to juice all of the
is that what
limes
we're
here.
gonna do?
We
Okay.
are. So it's pretty great. You can see I'm just kind of holding it over my my mixture so far of the condensed milk. We're going to zest it up a little bit.
Adds a nice little color.
It does. It really does. You know,
Shamrock green.
we are approaching St. Patrick's
We're
Day,
approaching.
so we're making some key lime pie because green and also Pie Day. I mean, to me, it's the perfect combination.
Hey, they go hand in hand.
They really do.
Clover and clover.
Clover and clover. So we are zesting. I'm zesting it into here, and you can see it looks great. You've got the nice bright green of the key limes. You can use a regular lime again if you don't have this or
Yeah.
don't have access to key limes. Regular limes are just as good. Looking great. And we're just going to juice up all of the limes that we've got here. So even though I'm zesting this, I'm going to give this lime back to Kevin so he can continue juicing.
That's what I needed. One more lime to zest.
At least this one will be a little bit easier, maybe. You know what I like to do ahead of time too, if I have time, I always like to kind of roll on my citrus fruit just to kind of like get the juices flowing
Yeah, nobody
before
cares.
I cut it before I cut it open. All of that, right? And so yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and continue. I'm gonna do the last little bit of zesting here.
Yeah, you've worked this one over pretty
I
well.
told you I was going to.
The amount of juice that's going to flow from this one. You do 10 pies.
It's true. It's really gonna
We
be
could do
nice.
3.14 pies.
We got to 3.14 pies. Oh man, oh man. You know, I actually loved working with pie when I was doing math in school. when I was
Really?
learning
Why?
math.
Let's
I
hear
don't know.
this
I just
story.
thought it was kind of cool.
This'll
I
get us-
like to draw it. I was kind of a bit of a math nerd, and I liked how things looked. So I love to write the pie out. So I mean, I think the zesting is looking pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
it really is up to you, kind of, and that's what's great about this recipe is you want to make sure that you've got the sweetened condensed milk right and the sour cream right.
Right?
Then
That
everything else,
consistency part.
and then yeah, then that's exactly right. Everything else can kind of be up to what you choose to measure it out. So we're just about done.
Okay.
And once we get,
We,
I'm going to go ahead and
We are
stir
not.
this in. And while Kevin
You
is
are.
continuing to zest or juice, I think we're looking pretty good. We're going to go ahead and dump some of the juice in here.
oh, can we? Thank
yeah,
you.
we can. I think that
Don't know
looks
if I
great
can
to me.
grab the cup.
I can
My-
grab the cup
Here,
for
take
you.
this. Don't get the seeds in there. After I did all that work, and you're just going to dump everything in.
It's true.
For crying out
We're
loud,
just going
Kim.
to dump this beautiful
We're professionals, for
lime
God's
juice
sake.
into our pie. We're going to stir it up, and then when we're done, we're just going to pour it into our pie tin and pop it in the oven. So the oven is at 350 degrees, and the best part about this recipe is it only takes 10 minutes to bake, which is great. And then you want to let it cool for a bit before you start putting whipped cream or anything on it. But that's it. That's our recipe.
Simple.
Simple, very simple.
Simple,
So
except for
28
this part of
ounces,
it.
28 ounces of sweetened condensed milk. You want about a half a cup of sour cream. Juice as many key limes as you can. A couple
With
zest
12
of two.
children to juice the mini
It's true.
limes.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and pour it into our pie tin, pop it into the oven for about 10 minutes, and we'll let it cool, and we'll show you what it looks like when
All
we
right.
come back out.
Be right back.
The pie's done.
Pie's done.
Happy Pie Day, Kevin.
Yeah, after
Happy-
squeezing 50 key limes, I'm going to have to call Dr. Viola over at the Stedman Clinic to redo the tendons of
or
my
just
fingers.
go get a hand massage. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, we have our homemade whipped cream, and it was very simple to make. We did it with about a half a cup of powdered sugar. On top of that, about a tablespoon of vanilla, and
Yeah.
then you put some heavy whipping cream in it, and you just mix it all together until it stiffens up or forms what we like to call peaks. And as you can see, it
Look at
looks
those perfect
great.
peaks.
Look at this.
Like the peaks of a 14er.
The peaks of a 14er. We are a big fan of peaks here in Colorado. And this pie looks great. We've got, we've let it cool. And if you really want it to set, you let it cool for about, 3 hours in total. But, either
Kind
way.
of needs that 3 hours to set up nice. We'll see
really-
what happens here.
It really does, but it looks good to me. You can see a little bit of that lime zest from all of the key lime pie that Kevin, or all the key limes that Kevin.
Now, if you want to use the word
juiced.
expert right now, as far as cutting the pie,
Boom.
that worked.
It really did.
Now, you
And
could probably zest a little,
you could if you wanted to,
Yeah.
if you really wanted to get fancy
but
with
unfortunately, I've squeezed all of the key limes.
it. Well, it looks great to me. I'm sure it tastes wonderful.
Well, I'm going to
also.
find out.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Wasatch Weekends. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Get on out there, cook something or bake something in honor of World Baking Day, and as well start planning ahead for the 2024 Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival happening over Labor Day weekend. You still have some days to purchase your tickets. And as always, we'll see you back here tomorrow with more on Wasatch Weekends. Thank you once again for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.